What's up everybody, Kier Gomes here and welcome back. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that I frequently get asked about, and that is my favorite card controls. If you're not familiar with that term, a card control is essentially having a chosen card placed in the middle of the deck and then magically appear at the top or bottom or any impossible location that you need it to achieve a magic effect. Card controls are most commonly used for things like ambitious card routine or card to impossible location. There's infinite ways to control a card to anywhere that you need it in a deck, but today we're going to talk about what some of my favorite ones are. Before we get started, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Without further ado, let's roll that intro and get you guys on your way.
Let's go.
All right, now this list is not going to be in any particular order. It's hard for me to have a favorite card control because depending on the situation, the performance, if it's camera or live, my favorite card control could very easily change. All right, now for this example, I will be using the red flexible playing cards by TCC. So by far, one of my favorite card controls and one that I think is fairly simple to achieve, especially depending on the angles that you use, is the Herman pass. There's basically two different types of passes. There's the classic pass and the Herman pass. And every pass that you see tutorials for on YouTube is essentially a variation of one of those two. The Herman pass is also commonly known as the turnover pass. It's pretty easy to achieve with a little bit of practice. It is a little bit knacky at first though. Now I always do this face up, but basically how it works is you have the spectator name a card that they see. So let's say in this case, it's the Ace of Hearts. We leave the Ace of Hearts right there in the middle. We don't even touch it. Turn over the deck, apply some patter for misdirection, and before you know it, the Ace of Hearts is back on top of the deck. Now, I'm not gonna be teaching how to do these. However, at the end of the video, if you wanna comment which one you would like to learn the most, whichever one gets the most votes, I will teach a tutorial for it. And that is the Herman pass. Now, another one that I think is highly effective and equally as practical as any other control that you're gonna do, and that is a false cut to shuffle control. A lot of controls that I use are ones that I would like to look invisible, like as if I didn't have to shuffle the cards, like the Herman pass. This one is really good if you have a good patter or a good rapport with your spectator. If you notice when I talk, I fidget with my cards a lot. And I do that in performance as well, and that's where this control can come in handy. So let's say we let the spectator cut the cards. This is the card that they selected, the 2 of diamonds. Through patter, you could be telling a story, you could be talking about the trick, whatever. You're just gonna subtly cut the cards a couple times, do a swing cut, and then an overhand shuffle while you're talking. Now, that's gonna seem really natural because you're talking to the spectator and you're just cutting the cards, but really what you're doing is controlling that 2 of diamonds right to the top. That one is super easy if you're familiar with a few basic principles in card magic, like holding a pinky break. And that's all I can say about that. All right, now, this next one, I'm not sure what the name is for this one. This is one that I think I first saw, I think it was David Blaine Magic Man, the one that came out after Street Magic. But he uses it for a card to mouth routine, which I would do if I had a spectator here, but since I don't, I'll just show you what the control looks like. But essentially, you can have a card selected. Let's say in this case, we just take the top card. It is, let's use a different one. Let's say let's use that one. The 10 of spades, okay? So if you have the spectator select a card, you can show that you're gonna swing cut it into the middle, show that the card is there. And essentially, let me see if I can get the angle right. Essentially, all you do is you just turn it over, make a fan with one hand here, slide the card into the fan, put that fan into the middle. And again, if you insert some patter, it's invisible and you are essentially controlling that card to the top. So I'll show you that one again and we'll go at speed. So we have the 7 of clubs as our selected card. We're gonna take it, cut it right into the middle, put it in the middle of the fan, and then put the fan in the middle of the pack, all the while actually controlling that card to the top. All right, now, similar to the Herman pass, another good and seemingly invisible card control is the classic pass. Now, the classic pass is by far one of the hardest moves in card magic to perfect. I have not perfected it in the years I've been doing card magic. However, it is something where if your pattern's really good, your rapport is good with the spectator, you can pretty much get away with doing anything. So let's say you dribble down, you have the spectator choose a card, let's say it's the King of Hearts. You drop the King of Hearts right there in the middle, rotate the deck or dribble the cards, whatever you want for misdirection, and you've controlled that card to the top. Now, if you're a beginner in card magic and some of these controls are really complicated and you want to get out and start performing right away, the easiest card control, in my opinion, is actually just to use a double backer. So I'm going to grab a deck that has a double backer and be right back. Okay, so I just grabbed a deck. This is actually the same deck that I used for the intro. These are the Honeybees by P3, one of my favorite decks for sure. So if you don't want to learn all of these expert sleights again and you want to get out and start performing right away, a really easy card control is to use a double backer, and essentially all you're doing there is having the spectator select any card they want, they can sign it, they can do whatever, and then you're going to be using a double lift basically to get the card back in the middle. So here's what that would look like. We would freely have the spectator select a card. Let's say in this case it is the 7 of clubs. You just take the 7 of clubs, turn it over, drop it somewhere in the middle, and without really even having to control the card, you're just switching places, it stays on top. So that is one that I would highly recommend if either you're a beginner or you're looking for something reliable that doesn't require a lot of practice. And the last one we're gonna talk about today is going to be the diagonal palm shift. Now, I don't use the diagonal palm shift very much live. However, it is great for the camera. It looks really good if you know your angles. So in this case, let's use the Ace of Spades as our example. What I'm going to do is place the Ace of Spades somewhere in the middle, push it in nice and slow, and then while fidgeting with the cards or talking, I've actually controlled it to the bottom. Now all I'm doing there is doing a diagonal palm shift or a DPS, getting the card in my palm, and then once it's palmed, I'm kind of just dropping the rest of the cards on top of it and then picking them all up, which puts it on the bottom. So that'll look again like this. So we'll take that one, push it in nice and slow. You can either talk if you have a spectator, or you can just use some misdirection, but basically the card has gone straight to the bottom. Now, if you're doing these controls for the camera, one thing that I would recommend is to dress it up a little bit. So similar to if you're performing for a spectator, you definitely don't want to make the trick boring. You do want to make it visual, but at the same time, especially if you're doing it live, you want to do something a little bit sexier. So here's what I mean by that. Let's say we're gonna use the Herman pass. So I'll have the spectator tell me when they see a card that they like. In this case, let's say it is the Queen of Clubs, okay? So we'll leave the Queen of Clubs right there in the middle, won't even touch it. Now what you don't wanna do is just say, oh, it jumped right to the top already. You might wanna do a double, right? So you show it's not the card, and then you can do a color change. So, oh, that wasn't your card? Okay, well, we can change it into your card. That dresses up the control a little bit. Then it means that there's more moves to keep track of. It also makes it that much more difficult to put together for a spectator. I'll show you another one using kind of a reverse Marlowe tilt. So let's say we take the 4 of clubs. I'm gonna put it somewhere in the middle. Nice and slow. And oh, it was supposed to jump to the bottom, but since it didn't, we can just do this. And now we have the 4 of clubs. So another way of doing that is, again, we can do a pass. I'll say we're gonna take the King of Spades. So instead of controlling it to the top, what I'll do is control it to the bottom. And then I can tell the spectator to envision their card, picture it, and then just shoot it out. And then it'll be their card, the King of Spades. Well guys, really hope you enjoyed that video. I had a lot of fun doing that intro. It's fun sometimes to just, do some simple card controls, have a good time doing it. So let me know which one of those you found the most intriguing, or let me know which one you would like to learn. Just comment it down below. Let's say sometime next week, whichever one gets the most comments, I will make a tutorial for that control. Please don't forget to like this video if you did, and subscribe if you aren't. I actually got a lot going on today, so I gotta get going. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I know I will. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.